Hey guys, and welcome back to Omnifactory, and welcome to episode number 32 now. In terms of this one itself, it has been a little bit longer than normal between the last two episodes, mainly because of the work that I've been doing off camera and a few other little bits, but I finally got around to getting some cable facades, so our A system's looking a little bit neater. As well as that, we have we've done a lot of work. And when I say a lot of work, I mean a lot of work. What we've actually also done is we have updated the pack to the version that's in the Omnifactory Discord. So that's got a latest version in it. As far as I'm aware, it will be pushed to the kind of main public via the normal launcher relatively soon as well, so keep an eye on that because there are some very good fixes. One of the other fixes that I've done is I've got one of the fixes for A2 lag. So previously we would have to wait kind of sometimes like 10-15 seconds whenever we broke and replaced something like that. It's a really nice fix in itself, so yeah, that's very, very useful. The other side of it is, with the new version of the pack, we pretty much no longer need the Empowerer at all. So we'll need to use it once, and that is it. So if we have a look here, they have added Empowered Void Crystal. So that's absolutely beautiful. We can get unlimited of that, as well as you have the recipes for the empowered gears as well in the fluid solidifiers. They've also added the extended crafting into the pack, so you now have the ability to speed up the if you are wanting to produce them manually still, or you still kind of before you get to the creative tank, you can get into this way. So you've got a few different things that you can look through, that's for sure. As well as that, they've also added some of the higher level machinery as well. So if we have a look at things like the chemical bath, as you can see, they are now all the way up to the UV capacity. Previously it ended at EV, but now it's on the all the way through to UV. And kind of speaking of UV, you might see we've got kind of hallways down there. If we have a look down here, this is kind of my off-camera work, yeah. So let's kind of walk through from the start. So the first thing that I actually did was, I know at the end of the last episode I was talking about getting into kind of the draconic wireless power. Instead, what I got into was wireless fluids. So you might see the kind of particle effects around the assemblers, as well as the interfaces up top. So this is working ridiculously fast. Now, if we jump back here, so jump in. What we've got phantom liquid faces. We've got them set up on autocraft as well. Liquid faces. They're really not hard. We just need buckets, which we can supply them with. We have a look at the actual recipe. So it's a phantom face and 2 buckets, which that in itself is empowered diamantine, which we have unlimited of, a few ender pearls, a chest, and an advanced coil. Really, really easy recipe to use. So what's that essentially meant is that because I can now kind of wirelessly get the fluids into this, we had a open space. So what I have done is we are using, I also made a new screwdriver as well. We have conveyors set to the top, exporting directly into the interfaces, and at the back we have interfaces all set to blocking mode going into the storage crates, so that they have kind of a buffer that we can use, and then a conveyor then taking the items directly in. So I've done it that way because I was getting a few clogs when I was using that, and some of the recipes as well, or some of the assemblers. Sorry, I've got a couple of extra recipes, so things like the wires and things. That's absolutely fine. We've got neutron reflectors, sure. As well as that, I have also, I don't know, I'm pretty sure I did this one as well, but we have upgraded to the superconductor conduit, so the entirety of the base is now completely being powered through the superconductor power. And yeah, in terms of this episode as well, the kind of main parts of this, I guess, is just to kind of give you an update of where we're at. I've done a lot of kind of grindy work, and as you can see, I've rejigged the base for how we're going to be working now that we've got the tanks up and running. As well as that, I have also done this, so we now have mad power. That's 32 neutronium solar panels, and yeah, really, it's not a problem. Chaos shards are actually really easy to make, surprisingly. Yeah, that's 100 chaos shards. I can just craft that. Yeah, the kind of hard part previously was the amount of diamonds. Now, if we kind of scroll down, where is it? This here. So 450 crystal heavy matrices. So that's 900 crystal matrix ingots. And yeah, it just took a lot of diamonds and a lot of things to craft. So that's absolutely not a problem. Nothing's really changed down here. In fact, nothing changed at all. Over here, so let's kind of run through this. These are all UV power. Every single machine you see on here is a UV machine. Even these, they're all powered with UV energy inputs. So at the moment, it's not really feasible to use things like the max batteries. If we have a kind of look, see what comes through. So the max batteries themselves, realistically, they're not too feasible. They use a lot of the energy clusters, which in turn use those, which use that, which needs that, and it's this which is kind of the problem. It uses a lot of ruby. Ruby isn't something that we have something infinite of, I guess. We have a lot because we can get it through the exquisite rubies, so we can get a lot of ruby on that itself, but it's not completely feasible in my opinion at this stage. So what I did, and I do think I did this in a lot quicker way, is if we kind of break this one just to show. So each one of these is a UV input hatch, and each one of these is a UV CEF. They're all attached, and that's pretty much how I've done it for all of these as well. If we have a kind of dig in, UV CEF power going through, that's all the way through. So they're firing straight from the CEF into the machine. And yeah, I just thought it was a lot quicker to do it that way. The UV CEFs aren't that bad of a craft, to be honest. If we have a look at either of them, the only difference is the amount of draconium. And we've got unlimited versions of the UV machine hulls because it's literally naquita alloy, which we can make unlimited of. UV machine casings is osmium, and then it's polytetrafluoroethylene, another fluid, unlimited of. The actual hard part is the circuitry, but it actually only uses a tier 8, which, if we have a look at this recipe, it's not bad at all. Second and final tier 8 sentient tenders, so we now have these on autocraft as well, so that's what this kind of setup is here. So we've got conduits and such going in, but the way these work is there is a interface below with a pattern. they'll get exported straight into there. I can probably show you some of those, to be fair. Let's craft, I don't know, 100. I will use them, so why not? There we go. Fires away. And it automatically sends these in here. I set it up with 3 so that it's constantly creating the next one. It's not waiting for the soul vial to come in. To be honest, you only need 2. But yeah, that's how that works. The portable tanks on top automatically will fire the XP in there. You'll see it goes in really, really quickly. And then it gets exported straight back into the system. So we've got the Franken zombies, we have this guy which is the sentient ender, I think. And we have the final one down here which is the prescient crystals. Yeah. So we've got those 4 set up. That's something that we can certainly look into. And yeah, it's working absolutely fine. All set up with our Octadics. And just because that noise is annoying me, I'm going to cancel that. That can continue as per. Yeah, so that's pretty much that side. Now, this here, and there is actually one other thing that I've done. I decided to upgrade to the Draconic armor. It's not a problem. Draconic energy cores, awaken cores, again, Wyvern, we have unlimited of these. Very, very easy recipes to be making, so I figured why not get it done, because I do like the speed boost that you get from the Draconic armor. If you press, it's default at C, and then you can shift click the actual pieces of armor. I have the FOV warp off, which is really nice. As I've been told already, I'm used to kind of having the FOV warp, but it's not exactly the best video. So yeah, that's not a problem. I have it set to 100% because it is really, really quickly. I have also set auto feed on and night vision. So there's a few different things on there. But yeah, that brings us to kind of the assembly lines. And why I think I've made 9 of them. Yeah, so this is the assembly line automated, and when I say automated I mean fully automated. So we have every recipe that I see us using from the assembly lines fully automated in this setup. So the way that I've got it set up is we have fluid hatches with the actual portable tank of whatever fluid it needs underneath, and then we have, if we kind of right click here, we have a pump set up to import mode, so it's constantly keeping the fluids in there, and that goes for all of them. As you can see, they've all got the fluid input hatches on there. The way I've set it up is this one is our 4, anything that takes 4. This one's 6, which is just the 3 conveyors. This one is, I think it's 7, is it? So yeah, that's the 3 pumps as well as a LUV motor. There is also this one, which I think is the first 9. Yeah, so I think that's 8 actually. I'm not sure. But this is the 9, so this is where our first wetware circuit comes in, as well as the other 2 motors, the robot arms, emitters, and sensors. Because they're on to the same chest and they're on blocking mode, they won't interfere with each other, so that's absolutely fine. The one thing that I kind of made the entire line before doing the patterns, and one thing that I did realise is that I didn't actually make enough, which is why this one's actually over this side, if I'm completely honest. So this one here is set up specifically for the pistons because it needed a, I don't know if I actually put it in there or not, but if we have a look at the pistons, they use the circuit set to configuration 2, whereas not, so they still need 9 slots, whereas this one needs 9 slots, but they don't use any of the circuitry. So that's that one. For this one we have the wetware assembly and the mainframe. Max batteries are in there, so we've got them on autocraft. In fact, will it kind of show you, just to kind of run it through, I guess, see if it will let me. So this is just for one max battery, bearing in mind we clearly can't craft it. So what is missing? Phosphorus, dust, and neutronium. To be honest, that's not horrendous. But what? How much ruby do we need? Let's have a quick look. So, ruby. Where's our ruby dust? Huh. I completely missed it. Do you not need it for the max battery? Oh no, sorry. I have some LUV clusters available, don't I? That's probably what he's picking up on. Let's have a look. So yeah, so we have the Lapatronic energy clusters available. If we go to Lapatronic energy clusters, we have 80. That's just from around the base, how they were. Lapatronic energy clusters. So to make 8 of these, it needs 2,800 energium and how much ruby? I think it should be about 18,000, I think. Wait, what? Why is it not showing? Oh, I have the energium available. Okay. Let's kind of work our way back, I guess. I made a lot of it as well. What is it? Basically 3,000. Okay. So I guess it's only 3,000 ruby. Not horrendous, but on a large scale that we've got, it wasn't really feasible. I don't know, actually. Thinking about it, I might have been better off doing it, but either way, I've gone for this route. That was the decision I made. LUV field generator there, as well as the UV field generator in that one. So that's that side. Over here is where I've moved all of the kind of end multi-blocks, as well as this guy here. So this one is the multi-smelter, and it's currently set up again using the UV system, using the fusion coal blocks, and yeah, that's where all of our furnace recipes go in there. It's ridiculously quick. If we get some kind of conduit binders, that's normally fairly useful. Let's make 10,000. How long will that take? Yeah, it is mad quick. The only thing that's stopping it from being any quicker is how quick it can craft that. So yeah, definitely worth that. In terms of the multi-smelter as well, so if you have a look at the coils, it shows you on them what they're how they work as well. So all the way up until the HSSG, you don't get an energy discount, but moving forward you kind of do. With the ones that we have the highest tier, so we get level 16. Not too sure what that means, but sure. And we get an 8 times energy discount as well. I don't know, they're very easily made, so decided that was the way forward there. Moved our implosion compressor there, so that's where that guy's set up. Although, to be honest, this guy isn't needed, I don't think. Implosion compressor, if we have a look, so implosion compressor recipes. Oh no, sorry, we do need it for the reinforced iridium. Okay, never mind. I think that's the only recipe I've actually got set up in here. Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, that'll be used for that recipe. We have our vacuum freezer over here. Pretty much the same as it was just over there. And yeah, this is our kind of keeping stock on the wetware support circuits. So the way this guy works is These are facades as well, so let me just grab that off. What I've got is a export bus, constantly exporting dragon eggs into a chemical reactor which has been stocked by a liqueface full of the sterilized growth medium, so we've constantly got a supply of draconic stem cells. This right here holds a ton of the stem cells, 131,000, and this guy's got a cover on as well with a storage bus, so we have actually got access to them because the stem cells themselves are actually used in making the wetware. What is it? The support circuit, is it? Is that what it's called? Sorry, the neuroprocessing unit, so we need it for that as well. So I figured, you know what, let's keep a good stock of them, and let's actually just keep a good stock in there. So the way this works, I was trying to play around with a few bits of kind of keeping stock on the multi-layers and the draconic stem cells, and I was actually coming into a couple of problems using things like the robot arms. So if you use the robot arms, so these themselves are very good at keeping a certain item in stock. Let me kind of get a robot arm. I should have got some. Yeah. So, and let me just get a, I don't know, chem reactor. I should have got some spare ones. Yeah, LUV, that's fine. Throw that down there. So the way this works, you put it on there, and as you can see there, top left, up here, it's saying robot arm IV. You get your screwdriver, you right click, and it brings up this interface. So you can either have it import items into your machine or export items from your machine itself. What I was trying to do is get it set to import, and then this here, as you can see, it has 3 different settings. Transfer any is basically the same as a conveyor, so I'm not sure why you'd use a robot arm instead of a conveyor. Didn't really make sense on my side. Supply exact means that it will transfer a specific amount of items. So if you have it set to, say, half a stack, what that means is that it will always transfer half a stack of a specific item. The issue is that if you don't have half a stack, it won't transfer that item, which is good and it can be bad depending on what type of automation you're looking into. Keep exact is pretty much exactly how you think. It keeps a certain amount of an item in stock at any one point, which I thought with this one itself, I was trying to keep in stock, say, 8 of the multi-layers and 32 of the stem cells. It just wasn't playing ball, so when I was trying it, it would fill up this slot here, but it wouldn't fill up this one for some reason, and I couldn't really work it out. But in the end, I did find a fairly good workaround, which is actually a lot simpler than So if we have a look at the sides here, so as well as that, if you were wondering, you can literally press this front face and you get it. So what we've actually just done is set up some conveyors set to an import, and because of how long this actually takes to craft, it will constantly keep these items in stock, and then we're exporting directly into here. So it's actually a very, very simple way of setting it up. And as I've just shown, we've got kind of storage buses on these 2 here, as well as we have a export bus and a crafting card on that side. So that for me is a very, very simple way of automating this setup, and I think considering it's kept in kind of a 2x3, it's very compact as well, so I'm actually fairly happy on that side. Allows us to see both the stem cells and the frame boards. What the kind of final part of my off-camera work was getting some stuff ready for our draconic stuff. So if we have a look in here, we actually have a extra 14 chaotic fusion crafters, and we should have the 3 fusion cores. So my plan of action is I'm going to be setting these up in a relatively simple way, because at the moment it gets clogged up if I mess with, or if I want to craft, say, a advanced dislocator and a ender manipulator, which often tend to go together as well. The reason is that for a start, this recipe only uses 8 of the injectors, whereas this recipe uses 10. So the plan of action is I'm actually going to set up 4 different fusion crafters, and I'll explain the 4th in a second as well. But I'll have one of them which has got 6 crafting injectors, one of them that's got 8, and one of them that's got 10. That way you can do it with the 10 alone, but it gets the item filters very, very messy, in my opinion. So that's pretty much the reason why I'm doing it on that side. It just makes more sense in my head the way that I can get everything looking. The 4th one is actually so that we don't run out of dragon eggs. So as I've just shown you over there, for our wetware circuitry, I'm actually export busing dragon eggs. So in theory, I could run out. Now, dragon eggs are very easy to make. We actually have a lot of them as well at the moment because of how many kind of chaos shards I've crafted. To be honest, you get a lot per craft, so it shouldn't cause any issues. Yeah, dragon eggs, not a problem. But you technically need dragon eggs to craft dragon eggs for the later recipe. So it should show... In fact, I think I've actually got them in stock. But if you have a look at the recipe, the one that I'm using is this one, because realistically I have very few needs for this recipe. I figured if I'm going to be making dragon eggs, I may as well get some chaos shards as a secondary product. But to do that, what we actually need to do is make this guy, which needs the warp engines and the advanced dislocator, which needs a dragon egg. So I think it works out you need 12 dragon eggs in total to make however many that was. Was it 4 stacks? So 12 dragon eggs to make 256 dragon eggs. So in a sense it's worth it, but what I'm going to do is set up a auto crafting setup where I'm constantly export busing certain materials to make a supply of the dislocators. So we'll have one that's almost constantly running, and it will have a kind of a backup system where as soon as it fills up, it won't be able to export the item out of here, so it won't be able to craft anything. That's the idea, at least. And to be honest, I think it'll work quite well. Yeah, to be honest, that's pretty much it. I do want to just get might as well get it done here, so should have got a ton of conduits. Yeah, absolutely fine. I think in total I've gone through about 1,000 conduits throughout the base, so yeah, that's that. I am going to quickly set up a kind of a very messy empowerer, just so that I can get the void crystals. There we go. So we want the empower in the middle. What is it? It's here, here, and here. So I need a void crystal block. Yes, please. So how do we make empowered void crystal? This one. Let me quickly bookmark that. Sorry. So black quartz, dark steel, carbon, and advanced components. Advanced component. This guy here. Get a quick one of those crafted. Shouldn't take too long. Ah, yeah, we've got 32 of those. That's fine. Advanced component. Carbon. Cell, yes please. That should be very quick as well, to be honest. There we go. Black quartz. Good there. Was it dark steel? I think it was dark steel. It is. Perfect. So, what I should be able to do is pop you in there. You in there. Not you in there. That one though. There we go. Perfect. So that's crafting through. How much does it actually take power wise? Let's have a look. 4 million. Okay. Not too bad, I guess. But as soon as this is crafted, I can literally take that through the extractor and get it popped into one of these guys here. And probably put in that one, might as well. And yeah, that essentially means we've got unlimited void, empowered void crystal, and we can get that. So what's it actually used for? Let's have a look. Void crystals are used in the shock absorbers and the ultimate gems. Okay, that's fine. We've already got all of that. Resonant clathrate, we've got that. Cinnabar, we've got a ton of that. Yeah. Okay, that's not looking too bad either, to be honest. That's used through to make the actual armor. Anyway, here we go. That's our empowered crystal, and that is officially the end of the empowerer. We no longer need the setup at all, and yeah, it opens up room to get a lot of space. So in terms of the base as a whole, it's not finished. I am planning on getting kind of another couple of setups over here and moving a few things around. I wouldn't mind having, say, the ME terminals coming down here. I think that could look quite nice. Kind of circle for the interfaces, but not too sure. I'll have a look into some of that off camera. There we go. Empowered void crystal though, so a tank. There we go. Throw that in here. We need that set to block. Hold. Hammer. I think it was this way. Yep, perfect. A. And we can pop that in there. Beautiful. So yeah, unlimited void, empowered void crystal, more specifically. That will run through very quickly. We are already up to a few stacks. Absolutely beautiful. And yeah, in terms of kind of this over here, realistically, the only thing that might ever come into use is this here, which has got all of the coal in, charcoal in. The rest of it, surprisingly, is pretty much useless. That's that side. In terms of this one, this has got some of the recipes in, so yeah, so empowered void crystal, that's no longer needed. Our entire of the nuclear craft setup, that's no longer really needed. Omnium as well, that's the other one that I want to get done, so Let me just throw that in there. Is there a... I should have got a ball mold. Perfect. Okay. So... yeah, tank. And that. So... what also came with the... why did I get another tank? Oh well. Not a problem. What also came along with the new patch, I guess. Wait, what? What's happened here? How have you got in there? Thank you. Don't know how that got in there. Anyway, is you can now make motes of Omnium with the fluid solidifier. So yeah, that in itself means that a lot of the other stuff, so mote of Omnium was kind of the one thing that was very manual still, and you still needed all of the kind of ingots, plutonium, things like that. It does mean that a lot of this stuff is no longer needed, so we still need potentially plutonium for that kind of thing, I guess. Yeah, we still will need that. So, but things like solidified helium, hydrogen, sure, we don't need those. Neon, again, another one. Fluorine, chlorine, argon. Still need argon, so there's a few different things that we definitely don't need. In terms of this guy here, though, we want to quickly break you. Grab a drawer. There we go, grab you. Be able to just go like that, right? Perfect. So that's going to keep our motes of Omnium in stock, and we'll pop our upgrades back in there. May as well. So yeah, 16 stacks, absolutely beautiful. Yeah, there's, in terms of the latest patch, it is actually very useful, and it did address a few of the things that I was kind of not too happy about once I really looked into the end game on this pack, because that one, or specifically that one, those two there were a real kind of bottleneck for no reason type. Because it's like, yeah, we've already made those, we've already kind of made those, we didn't have to, but why are you making us to do that manually when we can clearly do the other ones through there? Didn't really make sense, but yeah, that's fine. Glad that that got addressed. In terms of this one as well, so I have got kind of the change log for the patch up in front of myself. So as a whole, there's a few things that were kind of changed across. The first one of note is the issue with portable tanks. So I know that I have definitely mentioned this already in this series. The issue where it wouldn't allow certain items to be crafted with the portable tanks due to the item having to be placed and then picked back up. That's been addressed, so that shouldn't cause any issues. It may mean that I'll have to rejig a couple of recipes, but because I had it set to the MBT of the older version, so whenever that comes up, I'll sort that out. Should now be possible to craft. Should now be possible to auto craft a creative cell from scratch using JEI patterns. So I'm guessing that was to do with MBT data as well. Yeah, again, yeah, that's fine. Fix the MBT data for vibrant capacity banks in the basic cell frame. Added a electrolyzer recipe for magnesium chloride. So again, I have had a look through this. This is not one that we need. So the way that I was having to process this was through this. We got 3.5 buckets and a little bit of magnesium back. This is apparently how it should be, or should have been done. So it's done in the electrolyzer with 3 magnesium chloride. Straight up gets you magnesium and chlorine back. So it's a better recipe, much better recipe to be honest. What is it? 6, and you get more chlorine back, and you get a little bit more magnesium back as well. So that's a nice recipe. Shapeless recipe to convert mob dropped items into Greg Tech equivalent from. Not too sure what that one is. I haven't come into any issues with that one. Okay, that's fine. Enabled recipes for air collectors up to LUV, as high as it goes. The higher ones are called atmosphere collectors. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, it's added these guys here. So advanced air collectors all the way through. So you've got this one here. Tier 6 recipes. Again, not too much of a problem for where we're at. Uncapped tiers of fluid canning machines. So canning machines again now go all the way up to UV. That's nice. Again, not too fast. I don't think we'll ever use that one really. Wait, fluid canning machines. Fluid canning. Right, that one. Instant fluid canners are again not that useful in what we need. That's fine. Restored mote of omnium to nugget implosion compressor recipe. Accidentally disabled it last time, so it looks like that was a quick bug fix. I'm reading through this. It looks like since the official release of the pack that I was using before, there's been 6 updates. In total, yeah, that's right. Fixed the 4x CEF for the IV recipe. So if you have a look at the IV4, was this guy. If I remember right off the top of my head, this thing here, instead of it being lumium, it was end steel, I think. I'm pretty sure I've seen that one before, and I was like, it seemed a little bit weird for it to be there, so it seems like that got fixed. Another patch brought ore dictionary filters for hot ingots. Okay, not something that we use, so that's not a problem. Fix the recipe collision for uranium-235 clumps. Okay, that's nice, I guess. Same with 23835. Is this the one where it would create the ingot? Uranium-235 clumps. Yeah, I think that would create the ingot, wouldn't it? I think that was what it was doing. I had the workbench to fix that. Assembly recipe for steel and titanium gearboxes now provide the correct number of outputs. Fixed file name for Enderium's heavy plating texture, so it works on systems that are case sensitive. And a few kind of I guess easy fixes on that side as well. As well as that, looking at this, so few fixes here. So sodium hydroxide from sodium and water recipe fix. Turbines getting blocked. So yeah, there's a couple of nice changes done, just a couple of bug fixes, and yeah, the major ones that have been kind of put in are the molten inval void crystal, mote of omnium, as well as the crafting core as well. So the change from the empowerer through this guy, the crafting core, that's something that I really wish had come in a lot earlier. So yeah, good fix, just a shame we're a little bit too late to need it. They've also put in the HV distillery levels. So yeah, they're all in there as well now, all the way up to UV. fine. Fixed a couple of things with the robot arms, losing configuration on world loading, and added some recipes, so heavy weighted pressure plates, cauldrons, and assembly line casings. Compressor recipes are in for the HSS, GE, and S plates. So plates, if you have a look, these HSS, these were not being able to be done in the standard compressors. You had to either do them through here. To be honest, I've actually got them set up still using this recipe. Doesn't make a difference in fact it's a little bit quicker either way. So yeah, a couple of quality of life fixes, and a couple of really nice additions put into the latest patch. As I say, it's not kind of officially on the Twitch launcher as of yet, or on CurseForge. It is still running the older version, but you are able to get this in the Discord. The Discord will be essentially on the CurseForge link itself. That's how I got through to it. So in terms of that as well, massive shout out to Bronson Magnan. I should have done that a lot earlier in the episode. Essentially, he pointed me towards the actual Discord itself, and yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. As I say, it was mainly about getting everything updated to where we're at in the pack. There's a lot of things gone, but it was mainly kind of building work, and I didn't. Yeah, it wasn't something that was kind of YouTube friendly, I guess. A lot of work done, but it was very, very useful, and it means that our processing is so much quicker. So yeah, that's pretty much that side in itself. As I say, I was just literally reading from the actual kind of change log. So a few different things on that side. We have a lot of work still to go, so if we have a look at the quest book, we are at a stage where the next kind of big quests is to get through the tier 10 microminer again. Not too much of a problem, I don't think. What is it? Neutronium? How far off is this? 250. What's missing? So some copper foils. Why is that missing? Huh. Okay, and then yeah, some of the recipes that I've not set up yet. Naquadat alloy plates, neutronium solar panels. That's fine. Why is that recipe not in there? Hold on. Cluster mill. Copper foil. Why are you not there? I'm not entirely sure why that was doing that. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to call that for today. As I say, it wasn't mainly about getting much done in this episode. It was about getting you up to date about where we're at. A few different things that I'm going to be doing off camera. Potentially setting up another one of these banks, mirroring it on that side. That was kind of the initial thought. Not too sure though. I'll play around with that and see how everything looks. As a whole, does kind of show you how much space we was using. So just to go back a little bit, remember there was the kind of wall running along here. We had our machinery down here. We had the entirety of the kind of sugarcane setup and distillation towers. There's a lot of things that taking up a lot of space, and it's looking a lot nicer now, that's for sure. But yeah, if you did enjoy the episode and you are going to be sticking around for the remainder of the series, do hit that subscribe button to stay tuned. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.